Lily Slater has been hiding an important secret surrounding the night Joel Marshall was brutally attacked, but she has finally revealed what she knows. As viewers will remember, Joel was ambushed in the park by a group of local teenagers who wanted to make it clear that he was not welcome in Walford after his release from prison. Lily had arranged to meet Joel at the park that day, but things quickly took a sinister turn when Avani Nandra Hart, Amy Mitchell, Barney Mitchell, Ricky, Nugget, and Denzel Danes confronted him. The teenagers restrained Joel, poured beer over him, and filmed the disturbing incident on their phones. After keeping him tied to a fence for around 45 minutes, the group returned to collect Joel, only to find that someone had already freed him and attacked him. He was discovered seriously injured and barely conscious, prompting the police to launch an investigation. All of the teenagers insisted they were not responsible for the attack and claimed they had no idea what had happened to Joel after they left him. DC Craig Ingram has been handling the case and questioned everyone involved. During the investigation, Craig agreed not to use the video the teenagers had recorded before the assault, particularly after Joel made it clear that he did not want the footage submitted as evidence. Meanwhile, Amy has been determined to discover what Craig suspects about the attack and who he believes could be responsible. Ricky has also become increasingly anxious, particularly because his bike chain was used to tie Joel up. Avani and Denzel appear to be hiding information of their own, while Lily has also behaved suspiciously since the incident. Her strange behavior even led Jean to wonder whether her granddaughter could have been responsible for the brutal attack. In Tuesday's episode of the BBC One soap, Lily went to see Joel and desperately tried to convince him that she had nothing to do with what happened. However, Jean soon discovered that Lily was at number 43 and immediately took her granddaughter home, demanding that she explain herself. Lily then admitted that she had not attacked Joel, but she was the person who had freed him from where he had been held captive. Jean was completely shocked by the revelation. However, before she could learn everything Lily knew, DC Craig arrived at their home and asked to speak with Lily once again. After considering the situation, Jean decided that Lily needed to tell Craig exactly what she had confessed to her. Lily was initially nervous about revealing the truth, but eventually admitted that she had untied Joel. However, Lily's confession did not end there. She went on to reveal that she had seen Denzel secretly leaving the area shortly before Joel was attacked. Could this finally prove that Denzel was the person responsible for the assault? And how will Craig react now that Lily has provided him with this crucial piece of information? Lily will also face Joel later in the week as he confronts her over what happened. Will Joel accept Lily's claim that she was not the person who left him seriously injured and fighting for his life? What happened to Mick Carter in EastEnders? Mick Carter was the much-loved landlord of the Queen Vic and the head of the Carter family in EastEnders, so his disappearance in 2022 left a massive void in the family, particularly for his wife, Linda Carter. Mick made his EastEnders debut in 2013 after taking over the running of the Queen Vic. With his warm personality, generous nature, and kind-hearted approach, he quickly became one of Walford's most popular residents. Throughout his 9 years on Albert Square, Mick was involved in a number of major and emotional storylines. His reaction to his son Johnny coming out was widely praised, while a huge revelation surrounding Mick's own parentage later changed everything. He was also left devastated after discovering that Dean Wicks, the man who had raped Linda, was actually his brother. Another powerful storyline explored Mick's childhood abuse at the hands of Katie Lewis, receiving widespread praise from viewers. However, his final months in Walford were dominated by the collapse of his marriage to Linda. Mick eventually married Janine Butcher, but their relationship played a major role in the events that ultimately led to his disappearance at sea. Mick vanished on Christmas Day in 2022 after jumping into the freezing water while attempting to rescue Linda from drowning. Sadly, Mick never came back to shore, leaving Linda heartbroken. The situation became even more painful because no body was ever recovered, giving fans hope that he could somehow have survived. For some time, viewers continued to question whether Mick had escaped the tragedy alive. However, subsequent developments appear to suggest that Linda's beloved husband was indeed dead. Linda was overwhelmed with grief when Mick's presumption of death certificate arrived, forcing her to face the possibility that he would never be found. Then, in December 2023, Linda received an unexpected message from an unknown number claiming to be Mick. The text appeared to offer a glimmer of hope and suggested that Mick was finally ready to explain what had happened. However, the mystery message turned out to be another cruel deception. It had actually been sent by Dean Wicks, who was attempting to manipulate Linda into meeting him. EastEnders producer Chris Crenshaw previously indicated that Danny Dyer's time on the BBC One soap was over for the time being. However, he also acknowledged that Mick's unusual exit left the door open for a potential return. The producer pointed out that anything can happen in a soap, particularly when a character's body has never been discovered. He even joked about the possibility of Mick eventually returning to Walford covered in seaweed. Danny Dyer has also made it clear that he would not completely rule out returning to the soap in the future. During an appearance on The Jonathan Ross Show, the actor joked that if his career did not work out, he could always return to EastEnders several years later and walk into the Queen Vic covered in seaweed. In 2024, Dyer once again joked about Mick's possible comeback at the National Television Awards, suggesting that EastEnders should bring the character back. Ahead of the soap's 40th anniversary, he also revealed that he had put the idea of a return out there, particularly because he believed Mick could come back and help Linda after her life descended into chaos. However, Linda's future in Walford has now taken another major turn. After spending 13 years on EastEnders, Kelly Bright recently announced that she would be leaving her role as Linda Carter, leaving fans of the Carter family devastated. The actress explained that EastEnders had been her home for 13 years and that she had loved being part of the program, but ultimately felt that the time had come to move on. She revealed that she had made the difficult decision more than a year earlier, but agreed to remain on the show after discussing an exciting upcoming storyline with the production team. Bright also admitted that she would deeply miss her friends and colleagues, but was looking forward to starting the next chapter of her life and spending more time with her children. With Dyer having previously suggested that Mick could return to help Linda after she killed Keanu Taylor, fans may now wonder whether the former Queen Vic landlord could eventually make an unexpected comeback. Could Mick return to Walford one day and give Linda the happy ending she desperately needs? For now, Mick's fate remains one of EastEnders' biggest unanswered questions, especially because his body was never recovered. His disappearance has continued to fuel speculation among viewers, with many refusing to believe that the popular Carter patriarch is truly gone for good. EastEnders airs from Monday to Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on BBC One, with episodes available to stream from 6 a.m. on BBC iPlayer.